computer clock say it's 2 o'clock?
The computer says 1 o'clock.
I mean, okay, just kidding.
Tucson a little bit behind.
I went on Tucson's time too.
Friday the 13th, 1 o'clock. I'm going to call this meeting order. Tucson AMA Groundwater Users Advisory Council. I'm Val Little. I'm currently the chair of this body. What I would like to do is go a little bit off script, and I would like the council members to introduce themselves and then state how long they have been on the council. And then I'm going to ask that all the ADWR staff who are present to introduce themselves and say how long they have been with ADWR. Okay? Mike, Vice Chair.
Michael Block. A short timer.
I'm Doug Jacobs, and let's see, I am going on my, what, 5th year?
Doug Greenland, I honestly have no idea. Yeah, but I came in the middle of the previous chair's term.
We all understand.
Yeah,
And so I'm in my second 8 years. Okay. DWR staff.
I'm Nelson, Deputy Aiming Director of the agency for a year.
Madeline Oliver, Resource Specialist with the Water Banking Authority, and I started in February this year. So with the Water Bank, yes, and with APWR as well.
Yeah.
I'm Nick Mason. I'm the GUAC coordinator, and I've been with ADWR for a year.
I'm Melissa Sykes, the Water Management Assistance Program Coordinator, and I've been with the department for 5 years.
I'm Joe Rumble.
So that's not what we're using. So this is the room microphone, and I've been getting some feedback online too. Some people are easier to hear than others, so everyone just project. But this is the extension for this microphone.
Talk that way.
No, it's just project. So that this table here is the microphone extender. All right. The people who are further away from it will have to project a little bit more. Yeah, everyone, you're able to be heard. It's just to be like understood and clearly, we'd recommend that you just project as much as possible.
There we go. Project well.
And the folks other than these two classifications of people can be introduced, and you can say any number you want, age, rank, serial number.
Jeff Greenland with CMID.
Or no. Bless your heart.
I think if we're, I've been with them.
I'm Wally Wilson, the Water Resource Manager for Metro Water District, and I've been with the district just over 7 years.
Well, I'm glad everybody's here.
Who do we have online?
Oh, yeah.
If anyone's online and would like to introduce themselves, please feel free.
Please type your name and affiliation into the chat box. Did anybody do that?
I have no chats currently.
Okay. All right, we're going to skip over that. Okay. Agenda item number 2.
Oh, I'm sorry. Rebecca, would you like to introduce yourself? Should be one of our presenters today.
Okay, good.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Rebecca Burnett. I'm the manager of the Arizona Water Banking Authority, and I've been with ADWR for 2.5 years. Thank you.
Thanks, Rebecca. Okay, now we're going to move on to agenda item number 2, meeting logistics. Nick?
Thank you, Madam Chair. Good afternoon, everyone. Before we get started, I'd like to go over some meeting logistics. For the public in attendance, we ask that you please keep your phone silenced. We ask that all present online, please keep your audio muted during the meeting. If any member of the public would like to speak to the council, the call to the public will be the time to do so. If you are attending virtually, please indicate in the chat that you would like to speak and you will be unmuted. This meeting is being recorded and will be posted to ADWR's website and YouTube page once the recording is generated. Presenters, please ask for the next slide when presenting your agenda item. Finally, if you're having any technical difficulties, please contact our help desk. Their contact information can be found on the screen. Thank you. That is all.
Okay, agenda item number 3, I guess we have to elect a chair and a vice chair. Discussion, comments, motions?
I move, I nominate Little for chair.
Second, third. Go, go. You can just be outvoted.
Okay, any discussion? Everybody discussed already. All in favor?
Aye.
All against? Okay, I'm going to nominate, if I may, as chair. I'll nominate Mike if we are vice chair.
Second.
There might be a technicality there.
We don't care about no stinking technicalities.
My term ends January 20th with 2025.
We'll see.
Somebody's gonna have to enforce it. Okay. You can act,
Right.
you can act as a body and they can tell us we're wrong.
It's my understanding that you serve until somebody else is reappointed.
Yes, unfortunately.
Yeah.
That's the case.
Okay.
If you're out of the case, you keep operating the way you normally.
We do, yes.
Yeah, I've been on so long that you don't even want to know who nominated me. Remember Janet Napolitano?
Yes, I remember.
Okay, well, should we have a vote? Did we get a second on Mike's nomination?
I call for the vote.
Okay, all in favor?
Abstain.
Congratulations to you both.
Yes, thank you, thank you. See what we can do. Okay, moving on to item number 4, Arizona Water Bank, and Rebecca, you with us still with us, huh?
Oh, Rebecca.
Yes, I'm waiting for the presentation. Thank you. Madam Chair, members of the council, good afternoon. For the record, I'm Dr. Rebecca Burnett. I am the manager of the Arizona Water Banking Authority. And today I'm here to present to you the 2025 preliminary plan of operation of the Water Banking Authority. Comments and questions from the council and the public made today will be added to the final plan of operation, and that final plan will be presented to the Water Banking Authorities Commission on December 11th. Next, please. So according to Reclamation's August 24-month study, next year will be in a tier 1 shortage. That means that the reductions will be impacting CAP and IA pool, which means this will trigger an obligation from the Water Banking Authority to firm the Gila River Indian community. Next, please. So next year, we won't have any water to store. We haven't stored water in several years now. But we have different ways of achieving our goals. We intend to purchase intentionally created surplus, those ICS firming credits. This is pursuant to an IGA that we have with the Gila River Indian community. And this is water that the community stored in Lake Mead and that they committed not to use until after 2026. And also we can purchase long-term storage credits. And I will get into this in the next slide. Thank you. So here's our funding for next year. We will have withdrawal fees. So they will be collected in the Phoenix and the Tucson AMAs. Now, the amount you see here on the screen do not include the reappropriation, the money that was reappropriated to the Arizona Navigable Stream Adjudication Commission. So these are what we estimate having available next year. And we intend to spend all of the withdrawal fees collected in the Phoenix AMA, so around $1.6 million, to develop intentionally created surplus firming credits. So about 5,327 credits. The rate for these credits is in the IGA with the Gila River Indian community. It's 283.2 acre feet, dollars per acre foot, sorry. And the amount on the table includes the 10% loss factor. Now, in the Tucson AMA, we'll have money that we can spend to purchase long-term storage credits. However, we currently do not have purchase agreements. So the amount you see here, it's an estimate. We don't know if we'll be able to purchase that many credits next year. And we did not request the CWCD Board of Directors reserve money for the Water Banking Authority. That's why there are no estimated funds listed under water storage tax. And that is because we do not have large credit prospects for purchase prospects for next year. So overall, we're looking at maybe spending $2 million to perhaps develop 6,245 credits. Next, please. So as I said, next year will be a tier 1 shortage, so that will trigger our obligation to firm the Gila River Indian community. And according to CWCD estimates, the firming volume will be 6,102 acre feet. We'll have a definite volume later this year. For now, it's only based on estimates because CAP hasn't received all of the orders from CAP M&I subcontractors and other users. So we agreed with the community to use firming credits to firm them. And in that table, you can see all of the firming credits we've developed to date. This water has already been delivered on reservation. So essentially, we'll just be extinguishing this amount in our account. And so for next year, we will be using firming credits we developed in 2016 and 2017. So that's for our Indian firming. And there will be no firming for CAP M&I subcontractors, and there won't be any firming for on-river contractors either. And also earlier this year, the Southern Nevada Water Authority told us they intention to request intentionally created unused apportionment, ICUA, as soon as 2028. So there will be no credit use for Nevada next year. Next slide, please. So finally, this is a summary of all of the credits the water bank has by objective and location. And in the third column, you can see the 6,102 acre feet of firming credits we intend to use to firm the Gila River Indian community. And also further down the table, you will see an exchange between the Phoenix and the Penal AMA exchange of withdrawal fee credits of 12,350 acre feet. So this is pursuant to a 2019 agreement that was made during DCP. We agreed to exchange credits with different entities in the Phoenix and the Tucson AMAs. They sent water to Penal for storage to Penal AMA. Of course, they accrued long-term storage credits there. And so what we're doing is that we are exchanging credits because we, the bank, have credits in every single AMA. I mean, in the Phoenix, Pinal, and Tucson AMAs. So we started exchanging these credits with them. And what you have here are the maximum amount of credits that could be exchanged next year, because there are still a few entities that haven't requested the exchange. They have until 2026. So if they all do next year, then we might exchange this amount of long-term storage credits. And there won't be any movements of water. It's really the ownership of credits that will change. And as I said, no Southern Nevada Water Authority won't be requesting water next year. So that concludes my presentation, and I'm open to take questions from the council, the public, or just simply comments. Thank you very much.
Anybody have a comment or question? Yeah, yeah.
Oh, before we get going, I just got a few more messages that were a little hard to hear. So let's just really project, talk to the back of the room. I'd rather have them turn down their volume than not be able to turn it up enough.
Yeah, maybe Nick, you'll have to repeat the questions. Maybe.
Okay.
We'll see.
I'm not gonna yell at you, Rebecca, but I'm gonna talk as loud as I can. This is Pat Jacobs. I have two questions. The first is in regards to I think your first slide where you showed that the Tucson AMA is going to be zero in terms of use of the, which one was it? Can I go back?
The water storage.
The water storage. Yeah. Question is.
That's another slide.
Further back.
Again. Yeah.
Oh, wait.
Again. Yes. No.
Okay, that's
This one.
slide.
Yes.
And so there'll be no credits purchased. My question is that in previous years, it was shown that by the standard that the water bank has used, the Maricopa County AMA was fully met in terms of their need, and the Tucson AMA was not. Has that been changed, are we going into a deeper hole?
Chair Little, members of the council. So it is true that when looking at, proportionally to the CAPM&I entitlements in Pima County, we don't have as many credits as we have in Maricopa County. Now, we have been trying to, we're interested in acquiring more credits in the Tucson AMA, so in Pima County. And we've actually we're actually purchasing water from the Tohono O'odham Nation. That purchase was approved 2 days ago by the commission. And so we are working on developing more water storage tax credits in the Tucson AMA to make up for, in order to have more credits there for users in the Tucson AMA. And so according to this purchase and sale agreement, we're purchasing around 21,000 long-term storage credits in the Tucson AMA. So we're working on purchasing more credits. And so with that purchase, we're spending around like $8 million of water storage tax money. So we're working on it.
The second question is about firming in regards to tribal firming. Am I correct when I say that that's firming in regards to DCP and mitigation, not tribal priority?
Chair, Chairwoman, little members of the council, I'm not sure I understand the question.
Well, I'll try to explain what I understand and you can tell me when I'm wrong. The first thing is that I understand that there is an agreement with Bureau that we work with them in terms of the tribal priority firming, which the United States is obligated to do under its trust relationship. I also understand that this firming that we are now discussing is not that, but that under DCP, when there's a tier 1, we firm NIA water at 75%. Am I wrong, right, or in between?
Chair, little members of the council. So firming, the obligation of the Water Banking Authority for Indian firming is independent from DCP mitigation. Firming actually happens before mitigation. So it's the volume that we have to firm is independent from the mitigation volume by CWCD and mitigation that happens according to DCP. So in a sense, our obligation is pursuant to the Arizona Water Settlements Act, and to the Gila River Indian Community, it is up to 15,000 acre-feet per year. And
that's a separate obligation.
Yes.
Under their settlement act, is that correct?
Yes, sir. It's a separate obligation.
So the DCP obligation is the responsibility of CAWCD, correct?
Yes, in the sense that it is not the responsibility of the Water Banking Authority.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Other comments or questions? Mike?
Rebecca, so the 918 acre feet that's projected to be the credits for 2025, that'll stay within, you get a slide later, that'll go into the groundwater withdrawal account for the Tucson AMA.
Chair, little members of the council, yes, it's right. Should we acquire that many credits, they will be credited to the row under groundwater management withdrawal fees under the Tucson AMA. So that where the credits will be, we'll add them to that sub account.
Thank you.
I think in years past, we have gotten your slide presentation and your numbers in our packets in advance. And I don't think I got that. If I did, I didn't see it. Rebecca, could we get a copy sent to GUAC members of your slides so we have the numbers, hard numbers on file someplace?
I can take care of that.
Thank you. Thank you, Rebecca.
Thank you.
Moving on to item number 5. Melissa, do you want to update us on the water management program?
Yes. Thank you, Madam Chair, and good afternoon, council members and members of the public. I'll be going over the Water Management Assistance Program fund balance, the status of the WMAP and DCP groundwater conservation grants, and I'll introduce the groundwater conservation grant contract that has completed their project. The current balance is $139,121. Of that, $57,050 is committed, leaving a balance of $82,871. We expect to collect about $70,000 annually at the current rate, and the only project currently using WMAP funding is the University of Arizona's Arizona Project WET, and they have the $57,000 and $57,050 remaining on their contract. So next, I'll give you an update on the groundwater conservation grant. The 2 remaining contracts have completed their projects. The city of Tucson was unable to make it today, but they're expected to present at the next meeting. And then we have Mr. Greenman here with the Cortaro Marana Irrigation District, and they're going to present on their project accomplishments today. Before we move on to the presentation, are there any questions regarding the WMAP fund or the groundwater conservation grants?
Madam Chair,
Yes, Pat, sorry.
I don't know if it's about your presentation, something else. Is there a cycle to applications and reviews that you could refresh my memory as to when we vote on it, when people who wish to file an application do?
Sure. The water management assistance program is always open, so we're always accepting applications. It's really dependent on how much money we have in the WMAP fund in your AMA, which of course depends on withdrawal fees and everything, and how many projects we actually are funding at the time. When it comes to renewal requests, that is just for if their contract is going to expire. We want to make sure they come in and represent their projects to all and with any accomplishments or anything. And then the completed projects, like for the groundwater conservation grants, that was a one-time fund. So those, once the contract ends, they're done. So they present their project accomplishments like Mr. Greenland will be.
And how long does it take before it gets before us?
It depends on the communication between the grantee, but I'd say at a minimum 2 weeks, but it can go more than that depending on how many questions you have with their application and if they have to kind of have more meetings with them to address any issues that they might be encountering.
Very short time.
Yes,
In terms of water management.
It can be a quick turnaround. Yeah.
Thank you.
Go ahead, yes, sorry. Yes.
On the third page there, you mentioned Tucson Water Project. I just want to make sure there wasn't a typo in that sentence. It says we reduced their system losses by 0.75% of the original goal of 5%. So it's not 0.5%, it was 5% goal.
They had a 5% system loss goal that they had set originally, but encountered some issues along the way that they had some reduction, but not quite as hefty as they were expecting.
Right, thank you.
Well, it's a little bit misleading, the wording of the sentence. That mean they're trying to get it down to 5%, or they're trying to cut losses?
They're trying to cut losses by 5%, not get their full system loss to 5%. Yeah.
But that really needs to be rewritten, because I'm aware through the years about what the system losses have been for some water, and that's a little bit confusing.
Okay. I apologize for that. That was my wording.
Get right down there. Refresh my memory, Melissa, because I think we had quite a bit of discussion with the project wet phones.
Yes.
And what did we end up doing? Giving them the full amount with the proviso that they would, well, we tried to hold back, but I think they told us we couldn't, right?
So we gave full funding of the $67,050 towards their original presented project that they had brought before you. Director decided that was the direction to move forward with. We did have communications with Lisa Townsend, who wanted to then move forward with an amendment that would be addressing the concerns that was brought here for the GUAC at our last meeting, specifically water scene investigations and things like that. So what's attached to the end of that document is the revised scope of work. And that shows that they have eliminated water scene investigations and then kind of reinforced those other 2 tasks that they spoke to you about. Yeah. Good. So that's their current contract language there. What's currently being funded.
I want to make sure that we double back on that. Make sure. Thank you.
Yes.
All right, we're going to have agenda item number 6. Do this project, Doug.
I'll go down and talk by the microphone so I can see the slides too. So just to give a quick update, the next slide basically shows what we had before we did the project, and pretty standard for an old irrigation district there. And then the next slide is what the money was used to install. So that's a fully automatic gate that's run off solar power. It was connected to our SCADA system and can be controlled from anywhere in the world that you have an internet connection. And so that's what we ended up with. And next slide. There's the funds that were requested. We got 30,092 from the GUAC committee, and then we put in 12,000 of our own money to add the skate assistant to it. And that's the total that was spent there. Next. So the original estimate that we provided, we were trying our best to be very, very conservative on both of these things, but we estimated a 0.3 CFS leakage, just going through the boards and around the sides and those kind of things. And so we estimated that we'd probably lose about 0.6 acre feet a day for 7 months and maybe get 126 accumulated savings per year. After we got into the project a little bit more, and as we started to look at it, we discovered that the rate that we were losing was vastly different depending on how much water went through that particular gate. And so as we, after we replaced the gate, we came up with more accurate numbers to say that if the flow was under 7 CFS, we were losing about half an acre foot a day or 0.25 CFS. And then 7 to 15 was about 1 acre foot a day or 0.5 CFS. And then 15 over 15, we were losing about 1.5. And so as we did our record keeping, we have the numbers for every day about what was going through that gate. So that's the criteria we use to kind of look at it. So go ahead to the next one. So originally, we promised about 378 acre feet in savings. We delivered 758 acre feet. And then Chair Little, I think you were the one who asked if we could also track the energy savings. And so we based that on an average of our wells, what the number of kilowatt hours it takes to pump an acre foot, and that's the number that came back. So just under 185,000 kilowatt hours saved from that thing.
And what's your average rate for kilowatt hour?
Oh goodness, it's somewhere around 350 kilowatt hours per acre foot. Next slide. So the problems that we wanted to solve and that it did solve by installing the new gate was obviously the leakage through the weir boards. The structures that were there had settled over years, and so depending on where you took the measurement manually, depending on what your reading was on those weir boards, there's a little bit of variation in cap flow day to night and those kind of things that we were seeing. And again, this gate, if you set it, for example, for 5 CFS, it goes night and day and will automatically adjust with the parameters you set it to. And so no matter what is coming down our canal, going off to this direction, it's very consistent. Farmers really enjoy it and don't have all those complaints about the water changing. It is SCADA controlled. Our guys don't have to travel to check the flow rates anymore. They can pull it up on their phones, tablets, or a computer at home, see exactly what the gate is doing and how much is flowing through there, and adjust it if they need to. And then the other benefit we've seen is during the monsoons especially, you'll get a lot of variation in flow rate. Again, this gate, if we get a high flow coming down our main canal from runoff, the gate will close up and keep a consistent amount going to the farmers and send the rest on down and around to the end. So it's been a big winner for us. And this gate was installed very quickly after the grant was given, and then we had a 3-year term where we were tracking all the savings and benefits. You go to the next slide. Just really quickly, that's the location of the gate, and I would tell everyone that the great thing about the money coming from GUAC is we were able to use it for a first of a kind for us. And so we took it, didn't know, we'd heard good things, but we weren't positive. We took it, we used it, we put in this gate at that location, and then go to the next slide. And then because we liked it so well, these locations already have additional automatic gates that we've installed.
Can I interrupt and ask who's funded all the rest of those gates? The individual?
It's a combination of the district and the Water Smart from the Bureau of Reclamation.
That's amazing. You know, it's hope that that would be the outcome.
Yeah, and I think the fact that WMAP allows first of a kind, where the Bureau of Reclamation doesn't, it allows for this kind of things to happen. So we have all of those currently installed, and if you go to the next page, these are the ones that we still have yet to install. The floodgate will be installed this winter there. So we've got one down in Rancho Grande, we've got Postvale Road, and then there's actually only 4 on Lucadera, should it's 5, that we still plan to install with the next go round of funding from the Bureau of Reclamation.
So what do you figure is your payback time? As much savings as you're getting, how long is it taking to recover your costs? So,
And that's a great question, and I, to me, it's all, I mean, certainly within the first year. Some of these gates, because, and again, we're a little bit different than most irrigation districts. We don't have these huge, massive gates like CAP and others do. So 8.5, the one that we did the gate on, you know, you saw the cost there was over 40,000. And that's one of our bigger gates, and it'll only do up to around 30 CFS. Most of our gates that we've installed are between 10 and 12 CFS is all that they put through them, and those gates are $12,000 to $15,000 for the cost, and then we have to do a little bit of prep work and those kind of things in installation. So to me, it's certainly within a year and probably almost instantaneously because, for example, if we're running a field that doesn't have an automatic gate, what will happen is the employees will go home. You know, most of them start at 6 in the morning. By 2, they're done. They'll go home 3 or 4 hours, and then they may have to come back to turn something on. The places we have those automatic gates, and we also have a lot of our SCADA system originally was developed to control our wells, so they can actually sit on the couch at home. Turn on.
Jeff,
They can sit on the couch at home. They can turn off a well. They can adjust a gate, and never even have to come out. So not only it makes their life a lot better, it's less expensive for everybody. Next slide.
Also, you have in the previous slide, how many did you have that are already installed?
Oh my goodness. See, there's 2, 4, 8, 10, 11, 12, 13. No, that's right, 13.
And 5 yet installed? Or that's part of the 7?
The 7, I think there's still 6 or 7 to be installed.
And these are all CMID.
Mm-hmm.
Are you seeing other irrigators in the area, private irrigators looking at this model?
In the area, I mean, Pima County, there's us, there's not a lot of irrigation districts, right? But we have found a lot of irrigation districts out in Yuma that are using some of the same gates, and we've been in contact with some in California that are using it. As well as we have a engineering company that we use for the district that kind of specializes in irrigation districts, and they were one of the ones who was assuring us that they've seen these gates before and they work well for their different customers.
And you mentioned to me before the meeting that you're going to be featured in Arizona Irrigation Magazine, and is it because of this project, or is it?
I think they certainly asked a lot about this project and other projects that we're working on, and a lot about, you know, just as we move to urbanization, how an irrigation district really survive kind of things.
Well, I'm just really thrilled with it. Any questions and comments for Doug? Yes, Pat?
I'll join in the comments. I'll commend you on how well and how quickly the project was completed. And I'll ask the staff to somehow educate those who need to be educated that taking the risk is well worth it. And those who use water are paying for it. Want to commend it to your attention and maybe even to the director. Thank you.
Mike?
Doug, on the liquid ones here that are currently installed, how is that different than the future one?
So then the future one or the first one?
The future slide. Oh, excuse me, the one back.
Okay, so on the Luckett Road at those locations, we have north and west canals at both places. So if you look there, the only one where we have both gates installed currently is about 8.5. We have a gate going west and north. We weren't sure how that would work, if they would fight each other. And so we installed that one early on to see if we could do it on the rest of them. It's been working fine. So that's why we're coming back to do the rest of them.
Yes, again, Pat.
Oh, go ahead. I'm sorry, Mike.
Since you're saving on travel time, which is employee time, are you doing more maintenance with that savings or?
Well, on the gates themselves, we're finding, now that we've had them installed for a couple of years, we're finding some maintenance things that we've missed that we're having to add to it. Certainly the employees are doing much more maintenance and upkeep in general around the district and those kind of things. Absolutely. Yeah.
Not this project, but I'm interested in the flood control. What direction does the water flow and where's the end?
So the end is at the very end of the district, and there's a pond there that we can.
Where would that be?
So at the very top where it says Arizona Veterans Memorial Cemetery.
That northwest?
Yeah. There's a pond at the end of that, just across the street from the cemetery there that it flows into.
There's water coming from the south going north?
Yeah, and if it's a bad monsoon storm, then it'll overflow that pond and will eventually make its way out into the river. But it takes a big rain to get that to happen.
So get a lesson on how to control flood control.
Yeah, and we're kind of lucky, and I guess that's why that pond has always been there. But yeah, without that pond, we'd certainly have some issues. But with the gates working automatically, another interesting side story. So with all these gates in place, we've recently this year had a couple of events where we had to shut down things, and then about 2 weeks ago, we had a semi truck that came off the freeway, went down the frontage road and ended up in our canal and drove 50 yards in our canal. And so we were able, again on our SCADA, we were able to control the CAP and reduced its level down to where the water is still going but not overflowing. And then when they pulled it out, they got the truck out fine. When they pulled out the trailer full of peaches, it broke in half and dumped everything into our canal, which then backed up everything. And again, we were able to get everything we could that was currently on SCADA shut off at that point immediately. And then what happened is, because the gates were set further down, so the ones that were still available, it would take the water where it could and keep those customers going. So the ones at the end of the district, those were the ones that we knew in the morning we were going to have to come in and readjust. But everything that was within a mile or two of where the incident happened, we're still working just fine because it still had water going down there until we completely shut everything off. So
Unintended benefit, yes, Pat.
yeah.
Again, I'll just reinforce that Central Arizona project, when it had a breach, was able to continue delivering water to south using SCADA and the automatic control of our gates and such.
Yeah.
I'm not an expert, but
The-
your remarks reminded me of the same thing happening with a larger canal.
Yeah, and it's kind of amazing because I don't think we ever intended for that to happen. We never even thought about that when we built all these gates in the SCADA system, but it's one of the benefits we're certainly seeing. That, yeah. So, whereas in the past, if you had a fluctuation or somebody had to shut off, it was pretty much going to affect every customer. And so now we're much easier to find out where the water ended up and worry about the few customers that did get shorted. Kind of thing.
Other comments and questions?
Very good.
Anybody in the audience have a comment or question? Doug, I'm just thrilled about this because I had no idea that you had already, during this 3-year period, that gathering data that you were doing the same thing in other places. this is, to me, this is the highest and best use of our few dollars that we have. Is a project like this that's innovative, creative, at a risk, and it will also be able to show exactly how much water is needed. So, and I'm thrilled.
Well, thank you.
Commending to you and all the good folks at CMID. And I would really like a copy of his presentation. You know, it's really well. Thank you. And if you were waiting. Okay, moving on to agenda item number 7, groundwater withdrawal fee recommendation. Well, here we are again.
We didn't, Sharon, question, I thought we had, maybe for Melissa, but I thought we had set the rate at the last meeting. Is that not the case?
We always set the rate, don't we?
Yes, always at the end of the year, they're due in October, so whatever our fall meetings are, is when we're having this discussion.
Yeah. Okay. What's your pleasure, gentlemen?
I haven't shared my memory again, which is suspect, I know. But I thought, maybe Melissa, can you help us? What are the rates in the other AMAs?
Yes, I can pull that up for you. Okay, so Phoenix, their total right now is $3.30. Canals is $3. Prescott is $2. Santa Cruz is $3, and Tucson is $3.50.
You said Phoenix was 330?
Yes.
So currently, we are the highest for the AMA.
Yes.
Look at the bank, the button.
I'll make a motion to have the 2025 groundwater withdrawal fee at $3.50 per discussion.
Second.
Discussion? Next question. I'm good with that. So I'll question if there's no more discussion.
I have one more question.
Yes, Pat.
From your previous comments, do I understand correctly that we have nothing before you in the application process?
Oh, there's nothing that's currently pending for Tucson, if that's what you're asking.
Yeah, or, yes.
Yeah.
And secondly, is there any thoughts been expressed by the director? Years in a row, we made a recommendation and not considered his thoughts. So I just wanted on the record that if he had said something or we need to hear something, now is the time.
I would defer that to either Ryan or Natalie,
Whatever.
but
Yeah,
There's no comment on this.
no comments. Okay, that's his prerogative. But on the other hand, if he had made a comment, I'd like to hear it. Thank you.
Well, it's interesting because I get a letter. Does that letter not go to all the other members? Should I forward it to the other members? I just assumed everybody was CC'd on the letter that he gave.
the withdrawal fee.
Yeah,
Decision
saying what
letters.
his decision was.
Oh, that one.
Yeah,
Yes,
okay, so
yeah,
you did get it, okay.
Yeah, you would copy this on.
Did I? Okay. Well, I will again, just in case. Well, we're doing what we do. and
Yeah,
then-
I have no problem with the amount of doing it, but again, if there's
Some
some
reason
reason
that we're
or
off.
something that we're not considering,
Right, yeah.
that's what we need to do. That's our job. And so it's just as well to know that there is none, as well as there is. That's all I've got. In any conflict with anyone, I'm just trying to make sure I do my job.
I did ask them that question.
Did you?
didn't receive a response.
I didn't mean to put anybody on the spot. I mean, I accept no answers as answers. Go from there. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Certainly. So shall we have a voice vote? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Good, we're on the record.
One moment. It looks like someone online, Deputy Counsel for ADWR, Anthony Pirano. He'd like to make a comment. Anthony, go ahead.
Hi, yes, thank you all. Can you hear me okay?
Yep.
Okay, great. I'd just like to address a quick comment, and hello, members of the council as well as the public. Thank you. As Nick said, this is Anthony Pirano, Deputy Counsel of the department. I just would like to make a quick note regarding the comment or question that came up about forwarding mail. Typically, whenever the department sends anything, we're going to send it to all of the members, just to make sure that everybody has the same information. But if for any reason you feel like you need to share any documents you receive with the rest of the members on the council, just be sure to comply with open meeting law, that when you do so, you simply forward the information and not include any opinions on any matters that may come before you in an open meeting. You're able to share those documents and you're able to suggest that that be put on the agenda for the next meeting, but any discussion of those that may come before you in an open meeting needs to be saved for the open meeting. And I believe we will likely in the next meeting or some meetings to come, should the council members desire, I would be happy to provide a refresher on open meeting law.
Thank you.
And that's all from me. Thank you.
Thank you. Did we vote?
Yes.
Okay. Item number 7, it's finished. Item number 8, Ryan, director report.
Good afternoon, Madam Chair, council members, members of the public. I'll be delivering the AMA Deputy Director report today. Natalie Mass, our AMA Director, regrets that she can't be here today and send her best regards. I'd like to take this opportunity to provide you with a few updates here on recent developments at ADWR. First, in terms of personnel, I'm pleased to announce that Melissa Sykes has been promoted from our WMAP grant coordinator to our AMA Conservation Program Supervisor. As was mentioned earlier in this meeting, she's been with the agency for over 5 years and consistently delivered outstanding work. We're thrilled to see her step into that new role. The second item is around alternative pathway to designation, or ADOS. ADWR has initiated a formal rulemaking process to modify the assured water supply rules to create an alternative pathway to designation. Mix and canal AMAs. There's a public stakeholder process as a part of that rulemaking, including a public hearing and comment period and consideration of the rulemaking by the Governor's Regulatory Review Council, the GRRC. Information regarding this rulemaking and timeline are available on ADWR's website. The last item I have is around the Douglas AMA. ADWR will be working this fall for the adoption of the first management plan of the Douglas AMA. The statutory structure for subsequent AMAs is different from that of initial AMAs. We're grateful to the stakeholders and staff that work to create something that reflects the unique and unprecedented nature of that AMA. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Comments or questions for Ryan? Yes, Mike.
Wondering, Ryan, when the AMAs did their PIDS management plan, there was, and it's on the ADWR website, the overdraft data app. Looking at that today, but it hasn't been updated since 2019. And so I was wondering if the department, or if they are planning to update for sequential years.
Yeah, great question. Not to my knowledge yet, but it's something that we can look into when we keep progressing. We're trying to be as transparent with data as possible. We're doing things right now on our site, so we should have more data like that going forward.
Sure.
Do you want to go?
Go ahead.
Okay. The other thing that I recall that came out of the fifth management plan that a lot of stakeholder interest was when ADWR was considering a new methodology for determining whether recovery occurs within the area of hydrologic impact. And the department had talked about forming a committee or a task force to work on that. That is coming down the pipe. That still having on the Colorado River.
That's fine. Motion back.
I can comment from the Central Arizona project. We've not been recharging the last, 3 years because the full, the excess water has been no longer present. We're in tier 1, we're in tier 2, so it hasn't been an issue.
I talk about recovery.
Yeah, the recovery.
Not recharge, but recovery.
Yeah, so as to recovery, I can speak to that too. Yeah, we purchased a new site just which way east of the Quantico recharge project, and we have a test well. And I don't remember all the different results, but it's on our website, and the test well says it's much better than the recovery test that we did in the recharge area itself. There is now discussion about putting in a number of wells into the new site, which is like a 40 acre by 40 acre kind of well field kind of approach. So the Central Arizona project who must pay for that, and as an initial response is at that point. That help? I hope.
Yeah, my comment is more regarding EWR certain methodology as far as whether or not recovery is within the area of hydrologic impact.
Oh, yeah, that's we just abide by what we think the statute is, and I understand it from staff. It's not in the sub basin, but in the basin. That's where the recharge locations, which again are on the website, are located in the basin and not sub basin. I know we would welcome public discussion to meet that, because there's been a number of scholarly articles about that issue. So, but still, I think you're in the right venue. I think ADWR has that effort. Thank you.
Okay.
No, just congratulations to Melissa. I guess we won't see her anymore.
I'll be around still.
Okay.
You're always welcome to.
Yeah.
We have better Mexican.
Oh, yeah.
I've got a couple of questions. I remember from our last meeting that we had asked for a briefing on what the safe yield numbers look like in this AMA for the last 5 years. I can't remember who I looked in the eyes and got promised that would. No, we'll call Nick Hawk.
That's what I'm.
Keep him here until somebody comes up with those numbers.
That's the same question. Really just a little more kind of.
Madam Chair, I believe that's on the AMA website. I'm mistaken. Is that true?
That's
I
not,
just don't know how updated those numbers are. They might be
Yeah.
a year behind.
That's the numbers that only go to 2019.
Okay.
I can see what the latest data I can track down is and send that out to
That
you
would be,
guys.
because I'm sure someplace in some form, it's on the website, but I get lost after about 20 minutes.
Yeah, I'll see what the latest data I can pull is, and I'll send that out.
We don't want to hold you hostage. And, yes, sorry.
Yeah, that's our project.
Okay, perfect. And then also a current wardrobe. Because as I asked how long people have been, it's like shifting sands. Who are these youngsters? What do they know? And what do they really do? We never see you enough that we really get the drift, so I want to know. And here's a question about, this is just kind of general scuttlebutt. I'm getting the impression from just sort of being in this region and listening to people that there's maybe a slowing or some kind of blockage with approval of assured water supply redesignations. Is there some kind of holdup there that we can address, or am I imagining that, or what's the heck the deal? Anybody?
I don't have any information around that.
Okay. Okay. People want to get redesignated in good time. So,
Madam Chair, the only input I would have on that is I know Miranda recently received theirs and updated, it seemed like in a timely manner, and
Good.
they received almost double the amount of water they previously had.
well, now that Age is at Tucson Water, I don't know. So, I'm glad I did that. So, okay, so Miranda's good, but others maybe.
I don't know what's going on with the others.
Okay, that's just a question. But I appreciate it. Okay, call to the council. Other items for the good of the council, if you want to talk about. Pat, yes.
Yes. I wear a couple other hats and have obligation, and the obligation, first one is with the Central Arizona Groundwater Replenishment District. Every 10 years by statute, we provide a new plan, and that new plan has to be provided to the director by January 1st, 2025. We have just entered the public comment period, and I want to mention to you that if you go out to CAGRD and you can read the draft plan, it is, to me, one of the most important keys in the assured 100 assured service process. We replenish every year. We have a backup for replenishment, and we are planning for it. So I think you wouldn't be here if you weren't interested in what's happening in water management in Arizona, and it's an important document. I thank you for listening. Secondly to that, I want to point out that we have done something new in terms of conservation, at least new for us. We've recognized water sense, and we have appropriated $150,000 to any developer who brings their homes and their development to version 2 water sense compliance. They all have to do is send their compliance letter to copy to us, and they get $1,000 per home. I wanted to say that there is, I wish I remembered who it was, and I'm not sure I want to advertise on developers anyway, but both here in Tucson, Maine, AMA, and in Maricopa, we have had that happen, which to me is the most important thing to say to the home buyer. Check with their plumber to see if water sense was put into your new home, because that will save you money and that will save us water. So thank you for
I'm
that.
really surprised, Pat, that there hasn't been something said about that, either promoted by the developer or WaterSense itself. That's interesting. How recent was this?
Well, we got it about 2 months ago. We got the report, and it's on our agenda, and I speak as loudly as I can.
Right.
But I'm one of 15, and when I get to other places, that's why I'm speaking up now.
And it's on your website? It's on okay.
It's on CAGRD.
Right, yeah.
They have a separate website under water sense. Okay. My other hat is as chairman of the Water Protection Fund. Our 25 grant process has entered the public comment. Will be public comment in 2 weeks for a month month and a half. So again, we have 6 applications. We're open and we really request public comment. So, but we have very limited funds. As you may know, we had a pullback by the legislature and a reduction in the annual amount. So we will be very careful with what we do, but we don't act as a commission until November, and the public has opportunity now. Again, I request the public comment. It's very helpful, the member of the commission, to have that comment. Thank you.
Do we know when our next meeting will be here?
Not at this time, no.
We don't find this. Call to the audience. Anybody, Paul, you got anything?
We're gonna do something different with microphones next time.
Okay.
We don't have any comment online, but I'd like to open this up if there's any members of the public who'd like to make comment directly to the Arizona Water Banking Authority regarding their preliminary plans for 2025. Now would be the time.
Hey, Nick. This is Anthony Perano, Deputy Counsel with the department. I had a little trouble hearing the question just a minute ago about designations. My understanding was that there was a question about, you know, what may be taking some time in those designations. Was it broadly just about the designations, or was it specifically regarding the Tucson designation?
It had to do with providers within the Tucson AMA, but it was just a general question, and I don't have anything specific. I just have my ear to the ground. That it seems like redesignation, whether there's a hang up or slowdown or something, and it might be just that my ear to the ground was full of gravel.
Okay.
Is there anything that's different about the process than in the past, Anthony?
I wouldn't say that there's anything different about the process, but of course, you know, the hydrological realities of today are different from when they were last visited, 10 years ago, and in some cases more. But I can confirm that the Tucson, the city of Tucson has submitted a designation modification application that's currently under review with ADWR. So there's a little bit going back and forth with the city. I have been in numerous meetings with the city of Tucson, trying to just shore up their application and get that ready for final submission and approval. So it's currently under review at this moment.
Great, thank you, Anthony. Thank you.
Of course, thank you.
Call to the public. Anybody besides Anthony? You got.
I don't see any questions online. Again, if there's any questions from the public regarding Arizona Water Banking Authority, now would be the time. Or any other questions in general?
Well, unless anybody has anything else, I'm going to adjourn this meeting. I've been waiting all day. Anyway, don't forget that I want a copy of Doug's slides, all the presentations.
Yes. I'll send out Rebecca's data, Doug's slides, and the latest safe field data I can pull.
Thank you. Done the recording? Thank you, guys. Welcome.